Welcome back to the channel, friends. I'm your host, AK, and today we're taking a look at a game called the Nova Patria. This is a Roman Steampunk Colony Sim where, in an alternate history, the Empire never fell and instead lived on to discover the new world and steam power. Now, I found this title quite capable of scratching the city builder itch, so let's take a look at the demo today. And speaking of the demo, you can try it out for yourself if you like. It is free right now on Steam, link in the video description below. Otherwise, the slated release for this title is Q1 of 2026. So let's hop right on in, smash the like button if you're enjoying your time here. Consider becoming a subscriber. Thank you so much. Now let's rock and roll. Alright, so it's loading up here, and the first course of action will be to found and establish our very first city. Now, we have a very large map before us, right? All kinds of resources. We have water, we have wood, we have limestone deposits, we have iron and coal, all kinds of things that we can eventually use to bolster our civilization, right? Our budding civilization. However, it all begins with your first city, and the most important thing to your first city is, of course, ocean access, but also fresh water. So, if you want to scout where resources are, just click this heat map button in the top left here. This is going to allow you to scan for a variety of resource types. The one that we're targeting here right now is, of course, fresh water. So, let's take a look at where the springs are at. So, you can see all of these little lit green squares. These are where all of the springs are at, and you can actually build aqueducts to route the fresh water where you want it. And the freshwater expanse is accessed by this button right here. This is going to show you where freshwater currently exists, okay? Now, I cannot build a city just anywhere. It has to be on a freshwater tile. And you're going to find that a lot of buildings in this game require access to freshwater as well. So it's very, very important. And really, our city can't survive without it. So I'm kind of looking at maybe like this location, because what we want to do is we want to build our first city. Then a house is going to come down. And then we'll also want a merchant dock, which is going to allow for trading. Right, so we can import a bunch of stuff that we need to start our civilization. And then I also want to build a fishing dock as well, which is going to be important for gathering early food. So let's see, we have this zone right here, merchant dock right there. Probably fishing dock on the other side. Over here, I mean, it seems useful. We have a spring right here next door, spring right here next door. It might be kind of a difficult challenge to expand around this. However, we do have access to high ground as well, which is another element to this game that you definitely need, right? You need the winds of the high ground as well. I think I'm okay here. I like this spot. We got a beach right next door as well. There's certain buildings that interact with the beach too. So let's go right here. Let's do it. And we have Fortuna. Hopefully it brings us great fortune. Absolutely. Now the game is paused. I'm going to unpause it here in a moment. But essentially, to get started, we want to establish our first city and merchant dock, which we're going to do now. Then construct an aqueduct, which will allow us to reroute the freshwater supply, okay? So that's what we're going to do. Let's take it off pause, though. And then you're going to see, so when you establish a city, you automatically get housing, okay? The housing will be built, and then once you have the housing built, you get a population. And then, you know, that individual can man a building that will produce something for you. So in this case, it's going to be the merchant dock, which is the automatic building that we have to build. It's the only way to really import the resources that we need. And we're going to do it by way of trade on the high seas. So let's go. Let's put that merchant dock right here. Bam. And of course, it needs access to fresh water, right? Everything, it seems, needs access to fresh water. Even a warehouse. So let's go ahead and take this thing off pause. And we got speed controls up here. And you'll kind of see things happen as time passes on. In fact, I like playing this just maxed out on speed. It's the easiest way to do it in my mind. So we're looking for our first import, okay? So here comes a little boat. It's going to import stuff for us. And you can control what you want to import. So we are exclusively importing cement, lumber, and fish, okay? Fish for the populace, to feed the populace. The fish actually gets routed to the housing to feed, you know, the members of our civilization. We have lumber, which is a building supply, and of course cement as well, which builds roads, aqueducts, and things of the like. So here comes the little ship. He's going to drop off some much-needed supplies so we can get started. So you can see we got some fish. And there goes the fish. It's going to route to the house. We got some lumber, just needed as a building supply. And then we got some cement as well. Start paving up these roads. So you can watch your city come together in real time. And yeah, nice art style of this game. I also really do like the music of this game. It's got a good soundtrack. As you're sort of building up civilizations. And you're probably already wondering, can you build other cities? Yes, you absolutely can. We have the city center option right here. But of course, you do need fresh water. And you also need to build it in I guess, proximity of where the resources are. So you can kind of take a look at the circle that we have here. So it looks like we could put another city right down here in this freshwater supply, which is great. Then we can actually route resources to it. If I try to build a city like way out here, it's not going to happen. It's not within range, right? And then as, you know, our civilization grows, you can see our footprint expanding just a little bit. So let's go ahead and throw it on pause because we do have another population. Well, actually, this has to get built first. But once this building gets built, we'll have another population to build something with. If you ever want to look, just hover over the city center, Fortuna here. You can see housing 1, buildings 1. That means, I guess, the one person that is available in this town, or whatever unit of measure it's using, the one building is occupied. So once we have population, or housing 2, buildings 1, then we can build another building to produce for us. And we're going to want to do that. Okay, so now we have it. You can see it right down there in the bottom left. Housing 2, buildings 1. So this is an easy way to check. Do I have room to add another building or do I not? Okay. And in this case, of course, we do. So I'm going to target a fishing dock. Merchant dock. That's not what we want. Fishing dock right here. So provides fish. Of course, this is pretty impactful and necessary to expand our little footprint here. So let's go ahead and throw the fishing dock right here. Because, of course, it needs access to fresh water, right? Like, everything needs access to fresh water. No fresh water there, but fresh water right here. Fantastic. Let's throw it down. And let's get it built. And we can actually add in some roads to make for the easy travel of resources. So let's go ahead and build a little bridge right there. Nice looking bridge. Absolutely. And then the center mouse click is how you cancel out of a build plan, okay? Center mouse wheel click. So you can see our build plan goes down and now the resources are being routed, which is fantastic. The road's got to get built first, and then once it does, these will travel a lot faster. And we got a fishing dock. We'll have some fish in no time, and you will notice that the houses consume fish, okay? And essentially what you want to make sure of is, as your city evolves, you'll get different tiers of housing, and those different tiers of housing have different needs. So right now it's just basic fish. Tier 1, we are importing it. We'll eventually be catching it. Okay? But as Tier 2 and Tier 3 go onward, it's how you get more population so you can add more buildings. But they're going to have other needs. Pretty soon it's going to be flour, and then beyond that it's going to be smoked meat. So we'll definitely need to make sure we have a supply of all of those things so we continue to grow. Okay? So the tutorial is suggesting we grow a Tier 2 house. So we can do that by simply keeping these pumped up. Establish a second city. We'll be doing that relatively soon. Construct an aqueduct. We'll probably have to do the aqueduct and the second city in conjunction with one another, given they kind of go hand in hand, and we obviously need to supply fresh water. Now, you're probably wondering, how do you actually lose this game? Well, I mean, you can bottom out the wealth. That's definitely one way to make it more difficult on yourself. I guess I don't necessarily know when or if you actually lose. I suppose you can kind of just bottom out, and that's the end of your run. But we are losing $628 per month. If you ever want to understand what exactly all that cash is going to, well, imports obviously is a pretty big one. And then city upkeep, again, another pretty big one. However, we do get 1,000 denarii is what the currency is called in taxes. So that explains the figure right there. Total population of 2. So let's keep going. So essentially, as you have housing, you just want to make sure that you can support the housing with the resources you're getting. Of course, we're importing early on. Maybe we want another seaside settlement to import more. Maybe. Of course, importing costs cash. And up here, we have another house coming up. So once this completes, we will have another population to mess around with. So I'm kind of looking around, like, what do we have here exactly? We have some trees right here, so we could build a logger, if we like. We could build a wheat farm. I could also get, I mean, we do have a beach, which is a unique opportunity maybe to get, like, we could do a sand collector on the beach. You could also build a hunter lodge in the trees. That'll create meat for you. And then, of course, you need a smokehouse to turn it into jerky. Wheat farm will need a flour mill to make it into flour. However, the flour mill can only be built on a hill, right? So it's got to be built up here, which means we have to expand. So I think my initial plan will be to expand back here, get some flour, because that's going to be the key for Tier 2 housing. In fact, while we're thinking about it, let's go ahead and let's connect the road. Get a nice little zone to build something right there, I suppose. Should be a freshwater zone, I'm thinking. Yeah, it is. So we've got all kinds of fresh water in here, so we can really create a pretty bolstered civilization. Another thing that we can do on the beach is create a cement factory. So it must be near an ocean. Okay? It's going to produce cement from limestone. Where is the limestone deposits, you're probably wondering? Well, let's check it out. So limestone. Right here and right here. So it's real local, actually. So we can put up a little cement creation operation here, I suppose. And then, you know, less emphasis on import. Another thing that's going on is we're actually exporting too. So as we have excess resources, we will both import and export these 3 key resources. Okay, so we can turn that on and off if we like. If we simply want to only import, we can. This is the button that'll do it from overseas. Otherwise, there's kind of an internal importing and exporting system in this game where I want my dock to both import and export to other, I guess, buildings in need. So that is something certainly to understand. If you have a break in your supply chain, definitely look at what's being imported and exported internally within, okay? So dropping off fish, which is a good thing. We have our population. So let's go ahead and figure out what we're going to build. So logging camp, I mean, just isn't really expanded enough, right? Unfortunately. So I think what we should probably do is let's go ahead and let's get a wheat farm. Let's throw it like right there, or maybe right here on the river. Let's throw it right there on the river. I think that's fantastic. We can start growing wheats, and then I want to expand back and I want to get a windmill on the hill. So expansion, what does this look like exactly? Well, access to fresh water, right? So we could actually start a civilization right up here. We should be able to. Let's see. Yeah. But if you go too far back, right? Construction will be stalled, not in range of cement. So it's actually just barely in range. If you look at the reach of Fortuna here, right? Just barely in range. So that is good. I'd say we do it. Let's expand. Let's probably throw it right there. Then we can get an early windmill, get some flour, and then tier 2 housing, you're going to see. It's going to be a thing, and they're going to require, of course, flour. So let's build a road. Pretty ambitious road. To connect. Then as this expands, we'll probably want to capture these limestone deposits as well. Get a cement factory on the beach. Okay, so we got another house coming down. So this is a tier 2 house, okay? Which is good. It means we're booming a little bit, but we also need to support it. So you're going to see once this completes, it's going to require flour. We're actually getting that solved right now. Well, in due time anyways. So tier 2 house, if you look in the bottom left, we have the fish, which it consumes, but it needs flour, as I already mentioned. So let's get the flour solved. And let's keep on building up. Another thing in this game is there's research, right? A pretty extensive research tree, actually. And I think you can, like, eventually get to the point where you're, like, trading by air in this. But all kinds of stuff. You need a monastery to start researching, which is this building right here, okay? Of course, you need extra population to do it. I don't think Fortuna is the location because we want to get a cement factory. All right, so got a new city coming up. Got the wheat farm growing wheats. Not really doing much with the wheat right now. All right, so we got Remoria. Okay, so we have a house coming up. Of course, when you build a new settlement, the house automatically pops up. Let's take a look at the freshwater access. Okay, so it's this and this. I think we throw our mill right here. Because, of course, the mill requires access to fresh water. And as Remoria grows, we can, of course, probably expand back a little bit, I think. Now, another thing that we can do is we can increase the reach of the fresh water by building an aqueduct. So maybe we actually want to pull an aqueduct back this way. I think so. Because there's no fresh water access anywhere beyond this tile alone. So let's pull an aqueduct back. And it'll actually give fresh water to all the zones adjacent to where you're building the aqueduct as well. And then we can actually throw a fountain at the end of the aqueduct to really expand the range of fresh water. So maybe we do something like this. Or something like this. Maybe we do like a 90-degree turn. Got another spring right there as well. In fact, all kinds of springs in this high ground. So let's just pull it back to like, maybe like here. Let's do that. This aqueduct is going to get built up. And then for our building. So this is undersupplied currently. Start sending up some fish, but let's get a mill right there. And then we'll get a fountain back here eventually. Let's pull this back just a little bit. Put a fountain like right there maybe. Of course, you can't build on uneven terrain. You can see if it's uneven in the bottom left there. But we have all the resources flowing in to keep the house supported and, of course, to build the flour mill. And then you're going to see we're going to be shipping things up to Remoria here to process, wheat into flour. And then that flour will, in turn, be shipped back down to this Tier 2 house to support it. I think for roadways, let's go ahead and let's build some more bridges. Get a little more accessibility. Alright, so the road's coming up. Fantastic. We have our flour mill building, and you can see the aqueduct being built as well. So this is going to route the fresh water from this location. You can only route one aqueduct per spring, okay? So keep that in mind as well. It does create some, I don't want to say issues, but it definitely ramps up the challenge. So I think we want a fountain right here. So can I actually throw a fountain right there? So it has to be connected to the aqueduct's end, and then you can see the expanse of fresh water it's going to create for us. So I actually think we should probably, let's pull it back one. Just do a small aqueduct. Get a fountain right here. And then we can actually have access to this limestone, which means we can get a cement factory on the beach. So let's actually add the cement factory right away. Let's do that. We'll have this limestone corralled soon. Get a fountain. Then the flour mill is up and running, and you can see the wheat is now traveling the path, and this, of course, is flour. Okay, so that is going to get routed down here, and looks like we have a house at the bottom of the hill. It's a good spot for it. I don't want it to be too far up here, because the housing just pops up wherever it likes, and sometimes it's in like a real ideal zone for a building or production of some sort. Now, I think the next thing we want to get solved is probably wood as well. So maybe there's an opportunity to, I mean, we got some woods right here. There's another spring right there as well. Maybe if Remoria gets large enough, we can get some resources. So a way to sort of expand the reach of your resources is to build warehouses, okay? These do require fresh water, and they do require population, I do believe. Never mind, they do not require population, but they require fresh water. So that's another thing that requires fresh water. Alright, we gotta get this done so I can build the fountain. Build it right there. It's a great spot for it. Alright, so where's my cement supply? You definitely want to check to make sure you're importing the right things. Looks like maybe most of the cement went right here for this construction. It's of course undersupplied right now because we're not making limestone, but we'll be there soon enough. Here comes some more cement. So send it on up this way, guys. Let's go. Get this aqueduct finished. So where's all the cement going? That's a question that I have. Shouldn't be going anywhere, but maybe it's just being exported. So what I want to do here is I want to... Yeah, so import from overseas. Balance domestic trade, yes. Got to get this aqueduct finished. I mean, we're making a bunch of flour. It's keeping these buildings supported. In fact, we have a tier 3 house right here. So Fortuna, just booming in population. And what do you know? We can actually get a woodcutter. So this is great. Logging camp. We'll get it right here. Bam. Gonna need the logs. So let's go ahead and get roads completed. We need cement to build them, so we'll kind of figure out what exactly is going on with the cement. And why it's not necessarily routing to where I need it to. Maybe we need a warehouse is what we need, maybe. Let's demolish that road. So you can see the resources will, you know, find their way to where they need to go, but if they're not traveling on roads, it's not efficient, right? I think what we probably need is a warehouse. So can I get a warehouse? I can. So it does require population to operate the warehouse. It makes sense. But I believe that's the reason cement is not getting up. It's just not, like, this is just a little too far, is what it appears. So if I put a fountain right here, then we have overlap. Looks like I could put a fountain right here, actually. But we're overlapping the fresh water then. Actually, no, we're not. Well, yeah, we are, because these are already built on fresh water, so we might as well bump it back, right? So I believe to solve this, we need a warehouse. So let's get a warehouse down here. Bam. Let's connect the sensible roads to connect. So you definitely have to, like, figure out where the breakdown is and then what you need to fix that breakdown, right? That is definitely an aspect of this game. So we have 5 housing and 5 buildings at Fortuna here, which is good. This is a tier 3 house. So additionally, this requires jerky, okay? We're a little far off of jerky production, but we at least now have wood production. So with wood production, we can make that, well, we can fashion it into lumber from the lumber mill. We're actually in the positive now too. So we're kind of stabilizing just a little bit, which is great. So when you're in the positive, that's when you want to start thinking about maybe getting a monastery to start researching things, okay? But of course you need population for that. So maybe we build sort of a specialized city for the sole purpose of research. We got the warehouse going up. So we're going to definitely want to make sure we toggle. So this right here. So balance domestic trade for cement. So we should see a flurry of cement coming in. Yeah, so here comes the trade cart, right? So this guy will go from where the resources are kept. So in this case, it's the merchant dock for us. He's going to send it to the warehouse here. We can tell him what to send. So this is what I mean by sort of inter trade, okay? So if I have this simply export only, then it's going to only export, and it's going to essentially be a warehouse to gather things. Or excuse me, it's going to be a central hub to, kind of like a hub and spoke, okay? If it only imports, then it's going to simply sit on the resources, which we don't want. I want balanced trade. I want this warehouse to essentially expand the reach, right? So it's going to supply anything in this little circle, where the merchant dock only supplies as far as this goes. So that's why the aqueduct wasn't finished. Learn things as we go here. So fountain. More housing, okay, so we got housing going up. So you definitely want to be aware of the range of the buildings that hold your resources. So this would actually, this warehouse here, looks like it almost gets us to another aqueduct. Yeah, so we can supply resources to this aqueduct, which is great. This is going to enable us to, of course, build another city. So fantastic. Looking good so far. Alright, so let's throw the fountain right there. It's going to supply fresh water to everything in this little zone. And then we can get a limestone mine right there. Start sending the limestone down to our cement factory. Making our own cement versus importing it can help us generate a little more income. So your warehouses, right? Your docks and your warehouses, they can serve as a hub and spoke, or they can serve as simply storage. Okay, so you definitely want to be aware of that if you have a breakdown in your supply chain. If you're wondering why isn't this building getting the resources it needs, definitely check that. That's what I learned early on in this game. As I was sitting here scratching my head about why, why doesn't this house have basic fish? Well, that's why. Okay, so Remoria is getting a population. You can see this purple bar here. We got our fountain, which is great. Once this completes, so there we go. We got another house coming down, and Remoria is booming as well. Fun stuff to witness. So once this gets done, we'll get a limestone mine. Throw that right there. And of course, the expanse of freshwater. Whoops, sorry. Right here. Right? That's the usefulness of the fountain. So I think the next course of action will be to get in the woods and get a hunting and smoking operation. Let's throw it down right there. Absolutely. Alright, looking good so far. Warehouse was the key. We're going to get one more population here soon. Looks like it has stalled out until we get this building complete. And essentially, the way population keeps growing is you're able to sustain your housing, right? As long as you're able to do that, population will continue to boom. But the game will challenge you because it's going to give you different things that you need. Let's build some more roads. In fact, why don't we build a road across here too? Right, looking good. I think maybe we should consider another city center in this area. It's, of course, has to have access to fresh water, so I mean, how about this? We got a freshwater zone right here. It kind of seems like what we should do. I mean, it's right in the woods. A bunch of trees in here. Let's do it. And then I can build some roadways back this way. To make for the easy travel of resources. This game is fun, man. Definitely scratches the city builder itch. And I like games like this. Like, I grew up playing, Sim City. I don't want to say this game is like Sim City. It's quite different, actually. I also played a game called The Settlers. Settlers 2 is one of my favorite games, actually. Played that a lot. But that game is... There's more of a focus on combat in that game and, like, zone control. This game is like... Let's just build up a city and see how long you can survive. We've got tier 3 housing all over the place. So we really need to get our jerky production going forward. We got 4 trees there, 4 trees here. So it's going to really give a boost to any logging operations. Now, it looks like we got a house going right here. So that's actually a good spot for it. This logging camp is abandoned. Why? No population? Okay, so it looks like we're undersupplied on flour. Is our mill producing? It is. I mean, it's producing flour. Seems like maybe it needs more wheat. Remoria is good. Maybe we build... Do I consider building a wheat farm up here as well? Can kind of double up on the wheat farm. Oh, it's got a neighbor, a river. I can get one right there. I think that's a good spot for it. Let's do it. Let's get another wheat farm. That'll create more wheat for the mill to turn into flour. Okay? So I'm trying to, like, figure out why are things abandoned, right? Why aren't things operating? Now it's operational again. We got Rosalia. So the first thing we want to do with Rosalia is let's go ahead and get a hunter lodge. Wait, so is this population... Oh, I see what happened. So Rosalia actually absorbed the logging camp. That's what happened. So we should have a freed up population here. We do. Okay, interesting. So that's what happens when they overlap. Was not anticipating that, but I don't think it's the worst thing. In fact, what we can start doing is researching. How about? So I can get a monastery. We can throw it down. Otherwise, what else do we kind of need here? I could get a smokehouse. Yeah, let's get a smokehouse instead. And then we'll build a monastery soon. Maybe Rosalia is the location for it. We'll definitely see, but we have extra population coming up here as well. So it seems like these cities consume each other's population, which is interesting. So you definitely want to keep aware of the housing and building ratio. Okay, so we need a hunting lodge. There we go. In the 4-tree location, yes. And how about the freshwater? How's it looking? Got another location right there. Pretty good location. Hopefully housing goes up across the river. Maybe another spot for a farm too. Maybe. Alright, so we got plenty of farms. These are popping off. We got Hunter Lodge. Maybe consider getting another logger. So you can see the smokehouse requires wood and raw meat. Alright, so let's go Hunter Lodge. This will start producing raw meat for us, which should immediately go to the smokehouse. And this will help support our tier 3 housing. And there it goes. Gonna go right to the smokehouse. Bam, right there. So we're getting our first units of jerky, which will of course go to a tier 3 house. Fantastic. Alright, so Rosalia. 2 buildings, so we could actually add another building here. Do we maybe add some more logs? It's gotta have access to fresh water. This is another just prime zone right here, man. Another freshwater spot right there. Could also build a lumber mill to convert logs into boards, which we're importing currently. I think what we need is, we need another... We're going to have a bunch of tier 3 housing. So let's get another Hunter Lodge adjacent. And how's Remoria doing? 5 and 5. Okay, cool. Tier 2 house. Limestone mine popping off. That limestone is making its way down to the cement factory, right? Undersupplied. Okay, so here's what we need. So we need the limestone that's being produced to make its way all the way down to the cement factory, okay? So we have to set up a supply chain. We have to set up a supply line. So this warehouse, if we calibrate it to accept limestone, okay. Now we should see an influx of limestone going to this warehouse, and then it'll eventually be dropped off at the cement factory. So let's see. Yep, there it goes. Then this little cart's going to pick it up. And all of the boards that were being stored here are going to go back down to our storage right here at the merchant dock. So that's the importance of warehouses. Especially if you're not in the vicinity. There's kind of lots to think about with this game. Okay, so this is all going in. It's being stored at the merchant dock. I think I would like to understand. Maybe if you could just click on, just to see like what inventory levels you have of each thing, right? But we got a 6 population Fortuna here, so this is fantastic. So let's go ahead and get a monastery. Start researching. Bam. Wait, that's in Rosalia, isn't it? Hold on a second. Yeah, it looks like that's Rosalia. It is. So can I get it right here? I can. Let's do it. I want Rosalia focused on wood. Got some hunting. Let's go ahead and get a logging camp again. Okay, good deal. Right, so cement production is happening now. Made that little tweak, right? This warehouse is going to both import and export limestone, cement, and it looks like fish, non-negotiable. But it's not, it doesn't have any fish. So maybe actually it's not. Because it looks like this wheat is making its way. We can make that determination later. So this dock is able to supply these houses with fish, but not this house here. So we want it to import fish. Import only, I think. Let's see if fish starts getting shipped here. I guess I don't know if it will. Still have some learnings with this game, for sure. But it's fun to set up little supply chains. So for our next big expansion, I mean, we have a bunch of limestone all over the place. I don't necessarily know that we need more limestone just yet. I think we should probably consider getting a sawmill. But I think we need more fish, and we need it pretty bad. So maybe we fashion an aqueduct over this way. Supply some fresh water from this zone on down into here. Maybe even get it on the coastline to start importing more stuff. We definitely need it on the coastline for fishing docks, right? So let's begin another aqueduct. Let's be a little more bold with this one. And let's expand it down. Let's do like that. So cement, it should find its way. Yeah, here we go. The phantom cement, just going for it, right? But this aqueduct is going to get complete, and then we can establish another city here, of course, with the fresh water, build a fountain, and then we'll get a bunch of fishing. It's pretty obvious that we need fishing, like, we're not getting fish here to this tier 2 house. There's no fish to ship to this warehouse. Yeah, it seems like the fish is just gone as soon as it comes in, so we do need more fish. And pretty badly. Okay. Monastery is good to go. In fact, we've been researching. Looks like, Aeoli Pile Engineering. Steam spun sphere sets. Okay, so we got our first research, okay? So that's good. Let's continue down the tech tree. So we have irrigation. Wheat vineyards and tobacco farms no longer require a river, but gain plus 10% production speed if placed by one. So we have, we have farms on the river. Ballista, Venator, fishing docks and hunting lodges produce 10% faster if not placed next to the same building. Okay. Let's go with irrigation. And we got a nice aqueduct. Fantastic. So let's go ahead and establish a city center. Not in range of lumber. Okay, so we're going to need this warehouse to begin importing lumber. is what that tells me. Whoops, so lumber. Clicked the wrong thing. Lumber. Right, Rosalia. Could really use a 5th population here to get a sawmill. But our smoked meat operation is going very, very well. And of course, the lumber mill requires fresh water, right? Need population too, but fresh water. So we have the cement being allocated here, but not the lumber. So why is the cement able to reach it, but not the lumber? Alright, looks like we do have some lumber. So actually this is like the levels, right? So lots of limestone here, being shipped out constantly, being shipped in. Lots of cement here as well. Okay, so they actually do have levels. I think I would like a nice little just one-stop look at, right? You don't have to hover over this. Maybe it just shows you the supply that remains at the warehouse. But this should supply lumber to here. It should. Yeah, it is. Look. Okay, cool. So we got to figure out the supply chains. But lumber getting home. Got a city center going up, and you bet you already know what we're going to do. We're going to build a fountain, and then we're going to build some fishing docks. Right, there we go. And we're actually losing some cash, so the way research works is you can actually allocate Imperial funds to speed up your research, okay? So we could really crank it all up, but it's going to cost a ton, okay? So you're going to see that monthly number just skyrocket, which it is right now, right? So let's dial it back. I'm fine at just 1. We're doing pretty good. All right, so we got McKay. Okay, a house goes right there. I don't like the placement of that house, man. Let's see, can we get a fountain? Not in range of cement. Need this house to be complete. This is certainly the spot for it. Okay, so this is undersupplied. We got it coming right here. We should probably build roads. I mean, we definitely should build roads. Maybe we do something like this. All the way down to the coastline. And over. And then this is kind of like a central hub, it looks like. So build that in there and let's go ahead and build a little road system. And then as far as cement goes, so it does look like, yeah. So it's just out of the reach of our cement warehouse right here. So I think the question becomes, do we build another cement warehouse? Do I extend the aqueducts up a little bit? Throw the fountain like right here. That's a possibility too. Construction will demolish road. That's fine. I think that's what we have to do actually. That would be a good spot for it, but we'll throw it right here instead. Alright, looking good. Fortuna, let's see. So 6 and 6. Remoria is 5 and 5, and Rosalia is 4 and 4, which is all good stuff. Got a nice logging and hunting operation here. But we need more fish to supply. In fact, I should probably consider getting a warehouse at McKay here. Either that or... yeah, so this isn't going to be able to grab. So we're going to need a warehouse to transfer the fish where it needs to go. That's what we need. McKay needs docks and a warehouse. Okay, so this aqueduct is going to be completed in due time. And then let's see, do we have tier 4 housing? We don't. But it looks like we're stable. We're stable right there. Making plenty of flour. Things are looking good. Alright, aqueduct. Getting done. Let's build a fountain. For the fishing dock. Yeah, so it needs access to fresh water on the ocean coast tile, which is funny. I mean, I get it. Ocean water is not fresh water. In fact, it's the opposite. So we got to put the fountain right here. And then we'll get some fishing docks. Put 2 of them in. And if McKay does expand, maybe we can throw another one on the corner there. Gonna be good. Got good stuff happening. I want to get a sawmill. Let's see, do we have freshwater zones? Yeah, all of this is freshwater. So maybe a sawmill across the pond right here is a good idea. Maybe. We'll figure that out. They have to boom in population first. And to do so, we have to start supporting... Yeah, so this tier 2 house needs fish. So this has to get done. This operation we got going on down here has to get done. That's the most important part right now. And once it does, we can start supplying fish. We need a warehouse and some fish. So fountain's going to get done. And then we have to wait for the population to click up. Okay, so irrigation. Nice. So we're going to get more production. Let's do this. Ballista. Otherwise, we have farming. Excess fish can be consumed by farms to boost production speed plus 20%. We don't really have excess fish right now. Cities no longer gain additional upkeep cost after population 5. Guess I wasn't even aware that was occurring. In fact, considering this, I mean, let's dial this down a little bit, man. I suppose what we actually should do, instead of building a warehouse, let's probably get a trading dock, I think. Merchant dock. It's going to be able to supply all kinds of locations. So I need population. Okay, so I need a way to get... So this warehouse has to import fish, is what has to happen. It's got none, but it's going to have to accept some, for sure. So here comes a little cart. I think it's going to drop off some fish. Got a bunch of fish coming up here, but my guess is it will supply. So we got all of our wood going. Maybe I need like a wood warehouse in Rosalia. Supply chains, man. Alright, hopefully he's dropping off fish. Cement. No, cement. We're kind of full on cement. In fact, let's import and... We don't need to import cement. I think we can export it, actually. We're doing, like, really, really good. So, of course, we can make money that way, right? I think wood we're doing good on, too. But we're actually not making it, so... Let's continue to import it. Fish, we desperately need more fish. So, can this warehouse pull in some fish? Okay, so Fortuna has 7. Maybe I try to get more fish here, too. But a 7 population city is pretty impressive. Must have housing. We do have housing, don't we? Oh, it's being built. Right, in the process of being built. Got it. Rosalia needs this house to be supplied before it can grow. Remoria is fine, but this house needs to be supplied. So yeah, we have a fish bottleneck here. I think maybe what's happening is all of our fish in storage is just being used up right away. Maybe. So maybe I should try to focus on getting more fish. It's wherever possible. Bringing in a bunch of fish. Probably some lumber too, I would think. I mean, a bunch of fish. So where's it going now? Let me just kind of keep an eye on it. Is it going up to this warehouse here? I mean, it's within range, right? The dock, this warehouse. And then this warehouse can feed this house right here. So let's see where it's going. Okay, so it's feeding these locations. Right? This house needs fish. So that's where it's going. So I interpret it as we simply just don't have enough fish coming in. But we're at a standstill, right? So maybe we simply just go with, well, we can export cement, that's fine. Let's export lumber for a while, but maybe we simply just import fish. Like, that is the thing that we import. Maybe. I think a merchant dock right here would be great as well. If this house is in like a different location. My only explanation is that we just don't have any fish to send to this warehouse. That's what I'm thinking. So maybe if we increase imports a little bit. Let's see. Where's this fish going? Okay, it's going this way. Goes to this house right here. Okay. Okay, Rosalia got another population, so this is actually good. Nice, it got its level 3 house. So, a fish did eventually get to this house. So let's add some roads. You bet. Nice little riverside place right there, man. Must say. Alright, do we do a sawmill? Probably don't have a freshwater spot. I mean, I could throw it like right here. Or I could look at like a warehouse. Which also needs access to fresh water. Yeah, a warehouse right there is going to do us no good. So it seems like increasing that fish production was part of the solution. I think we can go ahead and let's build a lumber mill. Let's get it right there. Start making our own logs, given we're not importing them anymore. And then it's the great fish quandary, if you will. Maybe if I can pull in another, right? Maybe that's what we should do. Build another aqueduct. Down this way, right on the beach. I guess if we do that, we're going to need to build a fountain. Or maybe we don't. Maybe we just build an aqueduct to the sea. And we can build fishing docks right off of it. Let's do that. It's something that makes sense, at least in my mind right now, currently. Something that makes sense. Domestic trade. Definitely want to be aware of what's being traded domestically. So our lumber mill. Okay, yeah, so it is getting fed lumber. Gonna make boards for us. Now, where are these boards going? They're gonna go right back here, right? Because we have domestic trade. So maybe we do want this location to grab boards, or maybe we get another warehouse with a bunch of wood in Rosalia. That's another option. Population's doing good. The aqueducts, man, did that get done quick. So let's get a fishing dock, because we are just devoid of fish, man. Okay, so the Fortuna house is going down, is that correct? House tier 4, wow, a tier 4 house. So what does that cost? Like, what do we need for a tier 4 house? Like, what's the missing resource? Probably something pretty crazy. Let's see. I'm not even familiar. Wine. Okay, so wine. Alright, well, let's check the fresh water. Right here. So let's go ahead and get some fishing ports. As far as wine goes, I mean, I think we need, what are we going to need for that? Vineyard. Provides grapes, plus 10% if near river, irrigation. And then we need a winery. Okay, so this simply just makes grapes. I mean, that's an option for us too. But we need more fish. So I think what we do is we start a new zone and we make it a winery. And then we'll get this operation up. We'll probably import fish from seas as well. I think so. Undersupplied house. Yeah, I mean, we're desperate on fish, man. This house is abandoned. So we're losing population here. This tier 3 house is also abandoned. Due to just complete and utter lack of resources. I mean, we should be able to supply it, like... I think we're maybe just not making enough. Like, we're booming almost too much, maybe. A little bit. Looks like we're back in the green here. It's just takes a while for the resources to get to where they gotta be. Wheat farm is abandoned because of the population, so we have to get this house fixed. It's a tier 2. It needs fish, of course. This should help a little bit. I think we should probably try to... I mean, we have to expand fish reserves. We have to. I've got the aqueduct going down this way, so... I mean, I can start another little city right here, I suppose. But it's going to be a while before it gets large enough to expand to the sea. Maybe we can make the vineyard. Okay, so you can actually check out the heat map. So, all the areas in green can be supplied fish. So this one can't even be supplied fish, is what it looks like. Okay, so this is how you check your quantities too. Okay, got it. Yeah, I suppose it can't. But this warehouse can. It just, there's no fish to. So what I thought all along is actually what's going on. And this warehouse is, of course, the key. So we need to promote an abundance of fish. Which we already knew. So can I get another city? Can I expand this aqueduct a little bit? Okay, it's going to lose access to water, right? Can I do something crazy like this? Not in range of cement. It's because we're not importing it. Oh, it's almost in range, actually. So it's like, how do you get fresh water to where it needs to go? Do we maybe try to, like, move this? Like, just abandon this and move it, like, over here? Hey, this tier 2 house actually got fish. Okay, so this warehouse. Is this fish going this way? So somehow this got what it needs. Interesting. Okay, so, look, what do we gotta do? There's a small aqueduct right there. Freshwater. So yeah, it's like the freshwater. I mean, we tried this expansion. Gotta get it. It's like, I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it. It's not going. Like, we could start another city down this way, but maybe I try to focus on getting a vineyard first, so we can level up. If nearby a river, it's going to produce faster. We don't have access to a river. I mean, this is no man's land right here. Is there any fresh water in the interior? Definitely not. And then this will be way out. So this will be a hard zone to supply as well, right? I mean, this isn't a good spot, but if we shift it over just a little bit, then maybe it gets supplied with fish, like if we bring it over here, maybe. Let's try that instead. I mean, we've been sitting here just doing nothing really with it. If I can get it, like, on that shoreline, maybe. You know what I mean? It's got to be on the shoreline. The aqueduct needs to expand. Alright, we've got the ballista venator. Let's go ahead and build in this aqueduct. And once this gets built up, I think we can go ahead and start a city right here and then, you know, get more fishing. That's the way I see it. Rosalia with 6 population now. Wow. Rosalia's booming. Just kind of barely getting what it needs, right? Remoria's kind of stagnated just a little bit, but this house continues to get fish, which is interesting. I think obviously we're getting some more from here, right? The aqueduct goes up. Pretty impressive how quickly we can fashion an engineering marvel like an aqueduct. Wait, did this not connect? Oh, there we go. So we want a fountain. Fountain's got to go like right there in the helm. So let's throw that right there. Let's get it built up. And let's see where the house chooses to spawn. I want to throw it probably right here, the fountain. Okay. Looks like I could just get a fishing port right here, actually. Maybe I'll make that my first building. Okay, so we don't have any wood, but it's getting there. Fantastic. Let's build a little connecting roadway. Alright, there we go. So it's going right here. No. Let's reroute it. Actually, I think that is a better spot for it. If we get a fountain right here, got a bunch of real estate, right? Wow, so let's get it built up here, boys. Adoramus. The newfound city, hopefully it has a little more success than Mike K or whatever it was called. That was kind of a failed experiment. Alright, Rosalia's got an extra population. So what do we like for you, Rosalia? I mean, do we build the vineyard? I think so, yeah. Right here. Absolutely. Right, so the housing is complete. So this is good. And then I say, let's go ahead and get the fishing dock just right away. That way we have fish locally. And then I can add in the fountain right here. And we can get a new merchant dock, get all kinds of things. Had to kind of work my way through it, but I think this is going to be a better strategy, absolutely. I think this is going to get us to where we need to be. You know, multiple merchant docks, I think it's good. And look at all these fish, man. Now you're coming down. Yeah, I mean, that house is good. This warehouse still doesn't have any fish. But things seem to be working pretty good so far, I guess. Vineyard. Okay, producing grapes. Fantastic. So let's see. Do we have any capacity? We do not. Want to get the winery. Let's get some more fish. Alright, population 2. Fantastic. It's got a house going up. Wait, I might have done that out of sequence. I actually did. So, what you want to do first and foremost... Well, hold on a second. So, I want to demolish this building. Alright, because we have the population, so it's going to build a house regardless. I need to get a fountain down, dude. Does it still have fresh water access? Well, this one doesn't. It's abandoned. But the population is now reduced, right? So I think I can demolish this. Demolish this. Aqueduct not present. Yeah, I know. It's because I want to build the aqueduct. Alright, there we go. So we'll just kind of rinse and repeat. We'll just start this thing over again, I suppose. You want to add the fountain first so you have a larger expanse of fresh water, of course. So I was thinking about that wrong. Nice, got 7 in Rosalia now, just booming, man, just booming. All right, well let's get the vineyard. Which will surely need access to fresh water. No question in my mind about that. So let's see. Can we like move off of something? We can always import these boards, right? Let's go back to importing them. Can always add another sawmill somewhere else. But we need the vineyard. Or excuse me, the winery. Alright, so you here. Let's go ahead and get a fountain. More housing in... Okay, so it's building, got it. Bam, fountain. It's just gonna be, it's destined to be a small fishing village, is what it is. Destined to be. With some crazy roads. So this should give us the next tier. Oh wait, so it consumes what? Bottles. Okay, so we need to make bottles, which means we need to expand to the beach. So we're actually a little bit far off, but we need glass production on the beach. But we're making good money. Things are coming together. I mean, it's definitely like, it's more of a puzzle than you think, right? So where SimCity isn't necessarily as much of a puzzle, this game definitely is. Like, it makes you think outside the box a little bit. It makes you think about the supply chains. It makes you think about what's going on, but definitely a fun little city builder. Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely a game I could sink a bunch of time into. You know, just kind of building up your cities and solving problems. Fun things, right? We don't have Godzilla coming. We don't have an army on the borders marching forth. It's a pretty casual, cozy little city builder game where you do have to definitely use your brain and just try to solve supply chain problems. You know, bottlenecks, things that aren't really working out. I think we had a great challenge with fish in this one, of course. You have a finite supply of fresh water. How do you route that to, you know, be both in the proximity of what you're trying to do, but also, you know, create enough space for you to build a booming town or village, right? Like this one's going to be a small one, right? Because the fresh water here, it's this. So we're going to get one more house. We can get a few fishing villages, but that's about it, right? So how are you doing this? Many things to consider for sure. And I don't know, found this game fun and I really did enjoy it, but you know, we're at about the hour 17-ish mark or so. So I think you probably get the idea of Nova Patria. So if you want to check it out for yourself, you can certainly do so. Free demo on Steam. Otherwise, the Q1 release is, well, the release is slated for Q1 of 2026. Maybe it's one for the wish list. Maybe you don't even like city builder games. You know, I play them from time to time. I haven't really featured them heavily on the channel, but you know, it is a fun indie game and I thought it's well done. I think the graphics and aesthetic are nice and it's just a fun game to play if you're looking for a different kind of casual, chill experience. Maybe this one's for you. Maybe not. Maybe it is. So I'm going to get down out of here, my friends. This has been Nova Patria. Let's return to the title screen here and land this plane. But Nova Patria, give it a look if you like. There's a link in the video description below. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as well. Got to have a big supply chain mind for sure if you're going to be successful in this one. And, you know, I think we had varying degrees of success. So thanks for spending some time on the channel today, my friends. I sure hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know your thoughts. Smash the like button as well and become a subscriber if you happen to be new. Thank you so much, and I'll be catching you in the next video. Thanks a lot.
It's time for you to know what a bubble knows. Time to go where the other bros go. Towers get defended, roads get light. Decks get built, dungeons get crawled. Indie gem after indie gem.